Let's fall together. Welcome to episode 42 of the 5 T's of Stealth, where we will be discussing Torii. Once again, the 5 T's include tasks, terrain, tools, threats, and tension. These are what I consider to be the fundamentals of stealth gaming. The objectives in this game are rather simple. You will be solving little platforming sections and stealth sections to simply collect essence, memories, or wings, and then continue on to the next area. The sections are preceded by an orange pyramid which upon walking into will flip the realm you are in and give you new abilities such as a jump or the ability to activate platforms. The puzzle platformer sections will occasionally have a timer, require you to knock blocks off a button, or have you run up a moving staircase. The stealth sections will require you to capture a little creature known as a hum, which will provide you with their essence, which can then power pyramids. The game starts with a screen that states, quote, "This game deals with topics that can be sensitive for the viewer, such as depression or suicide. Although not explicitly stated, it is important for the player to keep this in mind." End quote. As this starting screen states, suicide is not explicitly stated. However, it is heavily implied. One of the memories mentions something along the lines of, "My sister died, I was supposed to take care of her." With all this in mind, let me give you my interpretation of the story. But to be completely honest, I'm not so sure I understand what happened here. My interpretation is that the main character, Ipa, killed herself after her younger sister Lulu drowned while she was supposed to be watching her. The rest of the game is dealing with grief and learning to forgive yourself. This is what I thought for a majority of the game. However, I'm going to spoil you on the ending. In Torii, you have a backpack companion that will talk to you. It turns out this backpack is the representation of your pet cat or something along those lines. The whole game is not about Ipa forgiving herself because she already has. The game is about Ipa helping her pet cat, Mosswig, forgive themselves for asking for food, which distracted Lulu from her drawing and led to her deciding to go for a swim and her inevitable drowning. I'm honestly just so lost on all of this and could be completely off base, but I won't pretend there weren't some emotional moments with Lulu appearing briefly. Map design is a bit weird to talk about here. There are some sections that look very nice, but that's about it. This game is mostly big, open sections with pyramids spread all over for you to walk into and then solve the puzzle or stealth section associated with it. In terms of the stealth level design, every interaction is the same. The layout simply changes with how many bushes are around for you to hide in. There's only one exception to this that I can think of, which included a more boxed-in structure that made sneaking more difficult, but I just jumped on some edges to cheese it a bit. The puzzle platforming sections are decent enough, but they definitely don't feel very unique. In other words, it gets repetitive fast. Jump on this block here, walk into this platform that'll raise over here, etc., etc. If you are not in a pyramid-powered section, then the only things you can do are sprint and gather random collectibles. The sprint feels very fast and honestly pretty satisfying. There is no crouch button in this game, but you will automatically crouch while within the bushes. Again, walking into the pyramids are where things change. The first thing you'll notice is a giant circle at your feet with your character at the center. This is important for the stealth sections since you can capture enemies when they are within the circle and because enemies will hear you if you sprint when they are within the circle. You can only capture an enemy if you are in a bush. The next thing you'll probably notice is a jump. Obviously, this is important for platforming. The platforming sections will require you to find the optimal path for jumping, and as you progress, several things will be added such as platforms that move when you walk up to them, cubes that need to be placed on buttons, platforms that lift up when you stand on them, invisible paths that are shown when your circle touches them, and even a second power-up in the shape of a sphere that functions the same as the pyramid but is on a timer. I should mention that when you walk into the pyramid, there is only a small area of effect, and walking out of this zone will cancel the realm switch. With the sphere power-up, this area of effect is slowly shrinking, so you have to move quickly. There are also bricks that can only be destroyed when you have the sphere power-up selected, so it really doubles down on the timing. Lastly, there are some small cubes that can be thrown to cause a distraction in the stealth sections, or simply be thrown at cubes to knock them off a button. Well, for starters, simply figuring out the little puzzles in the platforming sections will be a threat, as well as getting the precise timing down later in the game. In the stealth sections, there is only one enemy, but there are three variations of said enemy. Your basic enemy is a hum. These guys have a vision cone, and if they spot you, they'll take off running, and you'll have to redo that section. Next up are corrupted hums with an orange head that cannot be captured. You must first collect this fruit in the area that will cleanse the corrupted hums. There's a second tier to these corrupted hums that are too far gone and have an orange pyramid head. These guys cannot be captured, and gathering the fruit will not cleanse them. In other words, they are always a threat. All three enemies function the exact same, with the only difference being whether or not you can capture them. Torii is not a difficult game at all. The stealth is incredibly easy, especially considering the size of your capture range. You literally just go camp in a bush and wait for the enemy to come close enough, then click a button. I mean, sure, there's some more depth to it, but you always end up in a bush playing the waiting game. The first word that comes to mind with this game is weird. Torii is a weird game. While the story has some moments where it'll pull on your heartstrings, it really just confuses me at the end, and the gameplay side of things is hard to sing praises about. While I have no problems with the mixing of stealth and platforming sections, everything just feels so scattered and disconnected. The game just involves running from one pyramid to the next, and while I wouldn't say I had a bad time, I was pretty confused about what I was experiencing throughout my entire playthrough. As I said at the start of this section, Torii is just weird. And again, while I didn't have a bad time, I really don't have much more to say about it.